Christopher Robin, can you bring me my blood and my honey, too?
Hey guys, how's it going? Welcome back to Buddy's Big Screen. Jake and I just got out of Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey 2. If you're not familiar with any of this stuff, basically when Winnie the Pooh went into public domain, we got a horror movie announced that Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey was going to come out. It was a very low budget horror movie, slasher movie. I haven't even seen the first one. But I wanted to come into the second one because I heard it made a lot of money and that budget has been allocated for this movie. Like the teaser posters, trailers, the new updated designs and stuff. And it made me a little bit more curious to go see what they were going to do with the sequel. And then they announced the Poohniverse. I mean that with all sincerity when I say the Poohniverse is real. And I'm so excited to be hopping on the train. Shoot, say goodbye to the MCU, say goodbye to the DCU. It's the Poohniverse. It's like Nerf. It's Nerf or nothing. It's the Poohniverse. Okay, and I'm in. Okay, you know, I just want to talk about my thoughts on the movie now and just a couple things that I randomly just picked up or whatever. Nonsensical nonsense. Yes, that's what my channel is. This movie basically takes place after the events of the first film, which I did not see, but it's basically like the 100 Acre Massacre. And they talk about it in this movie. There's even a point where a kid is sitting down and is watching a YouTube video from 3C Films, a YouTuber, Chris, who I covered this movie and covered the Poohniverse in general. From what I understand from that scene is that the events in the first movie happened in the universe, but the movie we saw in our universe, or the one I didn't see, is like also in that universe. Like it's an in-universe movie that we saw in our universe. It's honestly not that hard to follow. I just thought it was cool that they did a little fourth wall breaky moment in there. There's also a moment where Christopher Robin is doing research, and there's a little bit of dialogue that says a zombie deer. I assume that's teasing Bambi. And then the ending of the film is basically a bunch, like in the credits, is a bunch of concept arts for the rest of the creatures that are going to be coming in this universe. That's pretty much all that's the Easter egg breakdown. But the actual movie itself, I was talking to Jake on the ride home, and I think it has a balancing act problem where it wants to lean more into the Winnie the Pooh funny lore campiness of this universe, but also wants to play it straight and do a standard slasher movie. Like, this movie has a lot of the same tropes, kills, cliches that you would find in any other slasher movie, but at the same time, it also shines really bright in going full campy with it by taking advantage of the Winnie the Pooh property.
It's poohin' time.
But through a horror lens. And I think that works for a lot of the kills. Some of them are really creative. Some of the cinematography and shot composition is really well done. But then that leads me right into that's not really true, because most of this movie, it's really hard to hear any of the creatures. Any of them that talk throughout the entire movie. It is so hard to just try to pay attention so closely to figure out what they're trying to say. It's also really hard to see. In this movie, the way they do night scenes is really odd because sometimes they're really well lit and there's ambient light that's lighting the background in the foreground or the subject or whatever, and it's dynamic. And sometimes it's just like they forgot to turn up the exposure on the camera. It's really dark. It is what it is, but it's a very standard slasher movie. And they get to a point where they're gonna do the twist of the film, and we find out that all of the creatures are man-made experiments by stealing children and experimenting on them. Because the through line in the movie is Christopher Robin is looking for his brother and is doing hypnotherapy to try to remember memories that he's blocked away about his brother's kidnapping at a birthday party. And we go and we try to find the guy that took him. Christopher Robin looks next to this guy, this janitor in the hospital. He looks at him, gives him a weird little look, and then he sees that same guy again in a window and decides to chase after him. That's the guy, just randomly. He just so happens to work with Christopher Robin in this hospital. he is like his coworker, he is a janitor, and he shows up twice at the perfect, most like convenient times, and he tracks him down and is like, tell me everything you know. And he just expo dumps because the movie is just moving and we need to continue on, right? I can criticize something I had fun with, but like, it's like really the plot convenience of him just staring at him twice, tracking him down, and then he's like, would you like to know the entire lore of this universe? Because we're about to dive in, okay? Like, it's like, here's everything you need to know with the Pooniverse moving forward, is that they're all like human-based experiments. Now,
Oh, them kids pulled themselves out.
I don't know exactly how that's going to work with the zombie deer, which is obviously alluding to Bambi, but it makes sense for like Peter Pan or like other characters like Pinocchio. Like, I get where we're going now, and it does lay the breadcrumbs of where this universe is going. I just want them to start having a little bit more fun, because I think the standard like silent or almost silent killers in a world like this just doesn't make sense, and they reference other slasher killers. But like, would it not make more sense for like Winnie the Pooh and his friends to be like constantly talking and making campy references and doing things while also doing the kills? Like, instead of them just walking slowly and doing growls every once in a while, why don't you have him say something crazy? Like, there's a kill in this movie where Winnie the Pooh like slams someone into a bunch of knives. Why doesn't he say something like,
I wish these butter knives were as good as mine at the 100-acre forest. Well, you know, honey, yes, honey.
like, I don't know, I'm not a writer, but like something, like play into the fact that these are these characters. I think it would be really interesting. And I will say I'm much more confident in seeing the rest of the movies now that I've seen this one. It's definitely a huge improvement on on the first one, because I didn't see it. I'm gonna wrap this up here. I don't know how to end this video.
Christopher Robin, it's pooing time.